Good day and welcome to a rather chilly Wednesday afternoon at the plot. It's overcast today and boy does it feel cold. There is a breeze going across the site at the moment and that's bringing the wind chill factor down. Obviously it feels most probably about 0 degrees at the moment. It says it's -2 on my thermometer inside the shed. So yeah, pretty chilly. Though actually the footage that you have just seen was me yesterday afternoon when it was just as cold. However, we had really lovely sunshine. So in the sunshine, it was rather nice to be out doing a job, which in this case, or yesterday's case, was tidying up the bed outside the shed. However, because it was still rather cold, it got to a point where I wanted to put 2 roses in, and I went back to my camera because it had been recording, and I realized that the cold weather had discharged my battery quite considerably. Well, in fact, fully, not quite considerably. And I just hoped that I had some footage, and indeed you've seen the footage that I had yesterday, which in total was most probably about 30 minutes work. But this afternoon I just want to get 2 roses in, so let's have a quick closer look at where I got to yesterday. So this is where I got to yesterday when the camera stopped filming, or actually it was beyond the time the camera stopped filming. I started doing the bed from this corner and I thought I'd just sort of be able to do this area because this area would be okay. But as soon as I started coming here, there was a time here. These are wild geraniums. There's another wild geranium at the back over here. But as I started coming in here, I realised there was a lot of couch grass that had come in from the side. And I decided to fork over the whole bed. So I forked over the whole bed. Any plants that were in there, I took out and I have replanted them. So this wild geranium here has been replanted. There's another one over here that has been replanted. And these marjoram, excuse me, these marjoram here, here and here have also been replanted. We had 3 marjoram in there. You can see that this is one big clod of marjoram. That is another one. And then one that was that size, I split and cleaned up, taking all the couch grass out, and that's what's gone back in here, here and here. So it's a pretty tidy bed. One thing I just need to be wary of, and the reason that I've got these roses this side, is because when the door opens, in fact we can do that, when the door opens it usually gets hinged here. So if I get this is my sort of pole that holds it back. So that goes in that metal pole there. And that means it doesn't sort of go forward. But I've also got this stopping point here. So the door can actually come right back and then be sort of locked off there. So I'm not going to put the rose here because that will be directly behind the door. I obviously don't mind if it grows behind the door, that'll be fine, but I don't want to plant this out sort of here when I want to be able to open the door fully back to there. Anyway, there we are. So those are the 2 roses. You may remember we did these as cuttings from a rose that were going through our laurel that our neighbours cut down a couple of years ago. And they were originally put into pots this size, 4 per pot. Then when they grew, they were then potted on into 1 per pot of that size. And then last year I put them on into these bigger pots. And yeah, the root system is pretty strong. So now I've tidied up this bed, I'm just going to pop those roses in. Very quick job this afternoon, which is rather good because it is cold, as I say. Just take it out. You can see the roots coming through there. Yeah, you can see how that's done. Rather lovely root system there. And I'm going to put it in here. Let me just move that there for the minute. Oh look, there's still more root there. Oh no, it's loose root from what I did yesterday. I think I'm going to move this geranium over here. I'm going to put it there for the minute because that's exactly where I want to put this. Oh no, there are roots. Look. However much you clear a bed, you know, there's always likely to be a few more roots you don't get. That's thyme root. Oh. Gosh, I thought I'd done that, but yeah, I think my hands were getting cold yesterday. So move that out the way and just give this another fork over, hand fork over. That's thyme root. Yeah, that was better. Right, let's get that one in. I think there is actually some root coming from under the shed as well. Oh, not a perfect job. Just going to open those up a little bit at the bottom, take that weed off. I think I'm going to put it in like that. Is that going to sit? No, it needs to be a little bit deeper yet. Yeah, that'll be fine. Gosh, my hands are so cold. The other one's going to go in here. What's that? No, a bit deeper yet, I think. Yeah, that's better. Get the soil right around there. Yeah, that'll do. I'll put the geranium, I'm sure I took out another one. There. Yeah. Oh no, it's a bit of... Oh, I think I'm so cold my brain's not really functioning. Where did I put that other geranium? Right. That's those two roses in. And now I need to put my hands between my legs because I need to warm my hands up. It's a good thing I've got good thighs. My hands are a little bit warmer now, and I've now got them tucked tightly into my pockets as well, so they're warming up with the heat from my excess body fat. But there we are. Yeah, it became clear when I started hand forking to get those roses in, that yesterday, if I'd had time, which I didn't, I'd have been wise to have done another hand forking of the whole bed. However, where I put the marjoram back in yesterday, I remember I did that had an additional forking as well. So now those two areas that the roses are in have had that additional forking. So yeah, I'm quite pleased about that. And just off camera, I've had a tickle around the rest, and I only found 3 other bits of couch grass root in that whole bed. So I'm sort of pretty happy with that. And I'm happy to have got those roses in, because of course this is the time of year in the UK when roses are pretty dormant, and I wanted to get those 2 in before the sap started rising. I think we've got another 3 potentially, no, 3 in pots, I think, maybe 4. So yeah, so we've got some to take to our next home whenever we may move, which is likely to be hopefully next year, unless a miracle happens and we move this year. But of course, what I could also do is, once these are growing, and the ones in the pots, as you can see, they're similar to these 2 that I've put in, so they're sort of pretty sizable. I could actually do some pruning of those and do more cuttings. So we'll have a good amount to take to our next home. It's such a beautiful rambling pink rose. It really is lovely. I obviously will need to support the rose growing on the front of this shed, and you will see me do that when we get round to it. But at the moment, they're just going to sit as they are with no support and bed themselves into the bed there. So yeah, and even though my hands are warm, I am still pretty cold, so I'm going to go home and have a cup of tea, and I will see you relatively soon another day. Bye. Good day. It's Saturday afternoon and I'm down here quite late on. It must be about 4:15 in the afternoon now. And we have what is likely to be the calm before the storm. Tomorrow we've got Storm Aisha coming in from the Atlantic, and to all forecasts it looks as though it's going to be pretty windy. But down here there's a mild breeze, as you can see maybe from the bamboo on the left there. But the cold that we've had this week has taken its toll. A, I haven't been down here that much. B, the brassicas are all really sort of bending over. C, the raw beans that were doing really well have succumbed. You can see that some of them quite badly burnt by the cold. We come in here, I mean, look at that one. That's just sort of mushy. There as well. Here, that stem, I think, is gone, blackened. But as I was saying to Bethan from Bethan's Kitchen Garden, you know, the hope with our broad beans, if they get burnt like this, is that they are very likely to resprout when the weather gets better. And for us, the weather is starting to get better from today onwards, apart from that storm coming in. I mean, look at our garlic. Even they seem to be subdued soldiers, keeping themselves close to their chests and not really heralding their growth so far. But give us a sunny day later this week and these will all be perky and back to normal, I think. And as I say, the good thing is that this weather helps develop those cloves that we want. If I come over to the bed where we sowed the broad beans earlier than the bed we've just seen, they really have taken, I think, more of a battering. Where there's been a little bit of shelter, maybe from here, these are still sort of okay, but quite a few have succumbed quite badly to the cold. Hey ho, hey ho. Yeah, it does feel rather cold. You don't see this too often here. Oh, my fingers. Look at that. That's a proper 3 inches of ice. Gosh, that is cold. Yeah, that is cold. In our orchard now, and I've just been talking to the plot neighbour behind me who fills this up about how to stop squirrels and parakeets and magpies getting at things, and I sort of said, well, it's a bit of a lost cause, but this is where we were going to be gathering to Wassail tomorrow, and it's just not going to be happening because with Storm Aisha coming in, I was going to say ISIS then, Storm Aisha coming in, above us we've got those big poplars. You can see we've got a line of poplars that go along the river, and we've got these above us here, and just in terms of sort of 80-mile-an-hour winds, we don't want anything sort of falling on people's heads tomorrow, so we've postponed our Wassail, which is a shame, but I think sensible. Though, you know, I look around at the moment and it really is, as I said before, the calm before the storm. But hey ho, hey ho. Our apple that we tied up last week seems sort of quite content here. I know sort of viewing this apple tree amidst the leaves is a bit difficult, but it seems sort of quite happy. Yeah, and nicely sort of almost upright, which is great. Anyway, yeah, tomorrow it will be much windier down here. Right, I will see you very soon, hopefully tomorrow, if it's not too windy. Bye. Good day. I needed to bring some peelies down to our compost bins and just sort of check on things here, and whilst I was down here I thought I'd do a quick job, which was taking out all the feverfew in this bed. An easy job, and the hard job is to come. You can see that there's quite a lot of other weeds in there, and I'm going to need to get in with my hand fork and get the couch grass in particular out, because that's mainly what's in there. This side of the plot doesn't suffer too bad at the moment with sancfoil, so couch grass is our main issue in the beds on this side. And of course, if I trimmed everything, hopefully it would keep the growth of the couch grass back, or at least reduce the growth, so maybe I'll be able to get on top of that this year. There's much work to do in this bed in terms of weeding, but also at the front we've got autumn fruiting raspberries, which, as you can see, some of them have already broken off at the base. The rest will be cut back down to the ground within, well, hopefully I'll do it next week. And then at the back here we've got joster berries, and I am wondering whether I propagate more joster berries, which I think I will do from cutting these back, but B, give these a little bit more space, maybe move 2 of them further this way towards the camera, which will give the 2 at the end a little bit more space. But yeah, we'll see how next week prevails in terms of weather. The wind today is pretty as expected, but at least I've got this little job done. This wind is gusting to about sort of 45-50 miles an hour, a bit less than was originally forecast, but it's still pretty strong, and I've noticed that it's brought a branch down in paddock, which we were going to cut down at our next work party. So I did warn the person that grows in a new paddock bed closest to that to sort of keep away from it this weekend, but they were away anyway, so yeah. So yes, I'm glad that we postponed the Wassail, which would be happening at this very moment, because yeah, health and safety and all of that. And of course the thing is, with a yellow weather warning for wind, our insurance, if we had an event, our insurance wouldn't cover us for if something happens. So you know, we need to bear those things in mind. You sometimes get tenants, plot holders here who go, oh well, that could have gone ahead, or you know, or it didn't appear to be as bad as everyone said it was going to be. But of course, when you're doing an event, you've got to generally plan ahead. So if you're going to cancel it, unless it's a very closed event like our bonfire night, where we can sort of postpone that on the day, when we've got other people coming and when we've got somebody coming to lead the Wassail, as we did have, you've got to plan ahead and cancel ahead. So we did, and I'm glad that we did. I think we took the right decision. But I'm glad to have got down here today, brought some peelies down. I also had some other peelies which have gone into our wormery, and of course those peelies have gotten there, they've got no garlic in them, they've got no onions in them, they've got no leeks in them. They're just sort of carrots and potato peelings and celery and things that the worms are sort of, you know, quite happy with. They don't like alliums, so yeah, I mean, they don't rear up as in June and go, why have you brought us alliums? You know, they don't do that, but they tend not to like them, so best not to give them to them. Anyway, that's it now. I'm going to go home and have a restful Sunday after I have edited this segment into a week at the plot, which will most probably take me about 40 minutes, something like that. So hopefully from about 4:30 I'll have a quiet evening with Richard, and Richard's off tomorrow, so so we're hoping that if the weather isn't too bad, we might be able to get out and do something, go somewhere. Otherwise we'll be tucked up at home. Right, I'll see you very soon. If you do have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, whether you're on Planet Vegetaria or you're watching this on YouTube. And however things are going in your garden, your growing space, or your allotment, I hope the winds are okay with you, no more than you normally get, let's say that. And I will see you very soon for another segment of a week at the, or more segments of a week at the plot on YouTube next week, or more segments as we go through the week on Planet Vegetaria. See you very soon. Bye. Oh, and by the way, the Feverfew, as I was pulling it out, it had such an amazing scent, and I have left a few small plants of the Feverfew in there, because I'm going to pop them on next week, and then we'll be able to put them in other places, because I think I might be putting some into the end beds here. Anyway, that's for next week or the week after. Bye.